everyone, and welcome back to Java with John. As always, I am John, and if you're looking to make your code smarter, more dynamic, and capable of making its own decisions, then you're in the perfect place. Today, we are diving into one of the most fundamental building blocks in programming, if statements. Think of them as the brains of your program, allowing it to choose different paths based on certain conditions. So we use them all the time in real life. For example, if it's sunny, then I'll go outside. Or if I am hungry, then I will grab a snack. Well, your Java programs can do the exact same thing. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand how if statements work, but you'll also be able to write your own, even making your programs interactive by taking input from the user. So, get ready to add some serious decision-making power to your Java skills, and let's jump right in. First thing I want us to do is to look at the basic structure of the if statement. What normally happens is this. Let me write that one first. So, if is the keyword that starts our conditional statement. Then, immediately following if, we have a pair of parentheses, normal brackets. In between those normal brackets, we put a Boolean expression. So a Boolean expression is something that evaluates to either true or false. Following those, we have a pair of curly braces. So these curly braces define a block of code. If the condition is true, then all the code that is inside these curly braces will be executed. If it is false, then this particular block is going to be completely skipped. So let's look at our first example. Since this is, let me add a comment here. So statements to be executed, since that's what we had. So what I'll do first is I would probably just enclose this in a comment, or just comment it out. So for our first example, I'll add a comment as well here, just to explain what the class is basically supposed to be doing. So this class, sorry, let me just do it from here. This class demonstrates a simple if statement. It checks if a number is positive. That's simply what we're going to be doing with this example. So we can create a variable. I can actually just call this temperature, and temperature will have a value of 25. It's an integer. So this is just the temperature in Celsius. That's what we have there. Then the other thing we're going to do is to check if the temperature is warm enough for a walk. That's what we're going to do here. So if sorry, let me get rid of this space. If the temperature is greater than 20, probably, then we can have a print line statement here. System.out.println, and we can say it is a beautiful day for a walk. Simple as that. What we're going to do also is we can add another print line statement here, and this we can say is just to notify us. So program finished, probably something of the sort. So a very important point to note is that this particular line, so this line will always execute. That's a very important point to note. Now, in this example, in the if statement right here, the temperature being greater than 20 is our condition. So if the temperature is greater than 20, then the message, "it is a beautiful day for a walk," is going to be printed out. So let's just test it and see how it's going to work. So we shall compile this first. Simple if example. We compile. So hopefully we don't have any syntax errors. Then we can just go ahead and simple if example. You can just go ahead and run it, and we get that. So the statement that we were actually targeting is this one here. It is a beautiful day for a walk. So that's the very first example. But with if, we also have something else that we can do. Basically, let me create another class. Simple, what do I call it? Let me think of a class name. Or actually, let me say if else temperature. I can use that as the class name. So I'll just save this, then just add main method right there. So the question I would like us to pose or ask our question or ask ourselves is, what if we want to do something else if the condition is false? And that is where the else keyword comes in handy. So else gives us an alternative. I'll add a comment here just to explain how this one would look. So if in the first example that we have created, this is how it looked. So in here we have the statements to be executed when the condition is true. But we are going to come here and add the else. So these are the statements to be executed if the condition is false. Statements to be executed if the condition is true. We can actually separate the two like that. So think of it like if I have enough money for coffee, then I will buy one, else I'll just drink water. So let's look at another example. It's actually a continuation of the same example, but it's easier just to create it in a separate class. So let's maybe describe what the class is supposed to do. So this class demonstrates an if else statement. It suggests an activity based on the temperature. That's exactly what we're going to do here. So let's try and see how it's supposed to work. So we can declare the same variable, temperature, but probably we can give it a different value. So for this, it's actually the same, temperature in degrees Celsius. That's exactly what we have. So first thing, check if the temperature is warm enough for outdoor activities. Doesn't have to be a walk, but just something outdoor. Same thing. If temperature is greater than 20, because that's what we were looking at earlier, then allow me to just copy this print line statement and allow me to also add some space within my block there. So we can say it is a great day for outdoor activities. Then we are also going to add now the else. What if the temperature is below 20, of which currently, according to our program, it's actually below 20. So we can say it is a bit chilly. Postpone outdoor activities. That's what we can add. Then we can as well add the print line statement that we had earlier, which shows where the program is supposed to terminate. So end of the weather check. You can add something of the sort there. So same example, but now this time round we are adding an else, meaning if the condition is false, then this block, this particular statement, is what we expect to be executed. Let's see how it works. So we will compile it first. This is if else temperature. Then, assuming we don't have any syntax errors, we're just going to go ahead and run it or load the bytecode, and that's what we get. It's a bit chilly, so postpone outdoor activities. In the logic, what we have in our program, if the temperature is not greater than 20, meaning it's 18 where we actually are, then the code in the else block is going to be executed. So again, another question to pose: what if we had multiple conditions that we wanted to check? So in life, actually, we don't always have just two options. Sometimes we can have multiple possibilities. So in that case, that is where we have the if, else, if. That is where it comes in. So if we were to extend our program again, I would create a class called weather advisor. Yeah, weather advisor. I think it would be a fair and good name. So we add main right there. So in weather advisor, this is where we're going to be looking at now the options. Else if. I'll add a comment as we did in the previous example, just to explain now what is expected. If we have a condition here, then on this block right here we say the code to be executed if, actually let's rename this to condition 1 instead of just condition. So if condition 1 is true, that's what we have. It's supposed to be code, sorry. Then we can add else if there, because this is now what we are discussing. In else if, we're going to have condition 2. So in condition 2, the code to be executed if condition 2 is true. Then we are also going to add else, because that one always has to be there. In this, we're going to say code to be executed if all preceding what do we call them, conditions are false. That's what we're going to have there. So think of it this way: if I get an A, I'll celebrate big. Else if I get a B, I will still be happy. Otherwise, I'll just study harder next time. So to expand our example, let's see how it's going to look now. We're going to start with, let's call it the current temperature. And the current temperature, we can actually say it's 5 degrees. Same case, temperature in degrees. Same thing that we have here. Then, in the structure of if, else, if, what we're going to do is provide weather based activity suggestion. That's what we're going to do. So let's see. If, then we're going to have here the current temperature. So if the current temperature is greater than or equal to 30, then allow me to copy a print line statement here instead of just writing it afresh. So the weather-based activity that we're going to suggest here is maybe it's a very hot day. Stay hydrated and under a shade, probably. Then else if we have condition number 2 right here. So in condition number 2, we're going to be checking whether the current temperature is greater than or equal to, say, 20. So if it's greater than or equal to 20, let's suggest another activity. So we can say perfect weather for a walk in the park. We can maybe suggest that. We can go to condition number 3 because we don't have a limit in terms of the number of conditions which we can add. So in condition number 3, we're going to check whether the current temperature is greater than or equal to 10. So if it's greater than or equal to 10, let's see what we can say. This temperature is a bit cool somehow. So temperature, okay, let's just simplify this. A bit cool, perhaps light jacket would be ideal. Just a suggestion. Then finally, if none of those conditions above there are going to be true, then let's have something. So if all the conditions fail, if all of them are false, so meaning it is freezing, so stay warm and stay indoors. I'm going to have that. So then, as we did earlier, let's have a statement that is going to denote the end of our whole block. So we can say maybe enjoy your day, just as a statement to finalize. Now in this example, notice how the conditions are checked top to bottom. As soon as one if or else if condition is true, its block of code executes, and then the rest of the else if and else blocks are going to be skipped. The final else acts as a catch-all if one of the specific conditions are met. Sorry, if none of the specific conditions are met. So let's try it out and see. So this is weather advisor. So weather advisor. Let's see what we get. But obviously we expect, since the temperature is at 5 degrees, we expect to get the final message where we had the else. So it's freezing, stay warm and stay indoors. Now, what if we were to introduce scanner into the mix? In the previous video, we actually discussed scanner input statements, and scanner allows us to ask for input from the user. So let's probably extend this example. Actually, no. Let's actually create another one. Say what? Movie rating advisor. Sorry, let's say this is the class that we're going to be working on now. So in movie rating advisor, since we already know that we're going to have scanner, we say the first thing that we always have to do is to import the scanner utility. Yeah, right there. Then from there, actually let's just add main method. Then we said step number 2, always create an instance of scanner, and we said the object is entirely up to you. You can give it any name that you want, any name. So system.in was the, or rather is the predefined standard input stream. So that one just goes without saying. Let's start. Allow me to copy this again, since we're going to have a few of those. So welcome to the movie rating advisor. That's the first thing. Then we can actually add another print line here, and please enter your age. That's what we're going to be basing the whole program on. So we said when it comes to scanner, step 1 was to import the utility, step 2 was to instantiate or create an object of the scanner class, step 3 is to use that particular object to call whichever relevant method that you need. So in our case here, I may create a variable called user age, and then I'm going to go ahead and use input, which is my object of scanner, to call the next int method there. So from there, so let's just add comments first. Step 1 is to import the scanner utility. Step 2 is to let's say, let me just simplify it. Create a scanner object to read inputs. That's step 2. Step 3, right here. Step 3 is where we read the age of the user. Then we now go straight to step 4. According to the logic that we have, step 4 would be apply an if logic. I don't know whether that makes sense, but if logic based on the age, or based on the user's age. Let's just leave it at that. So if we pick user age, first thing that we're going to do is just to check whether the age is below 0. So below 0 is actually wrong, to say the least, because we don't expect anyone who is below 0 to be actually trying to watch a movie. So let's say this, sorry, I'm supposed to paste there. So this is an invalid age. That's the first thing that we're going to do. So please enter a positive number. Another way of looking at it is that anything that is below 0 is actually wrong, because we want to test a number, an actual number. So that's the first thing that we're going to do. Let's continue. Else if, second thing that we're going to do is take age and then check whether the age is below 13. Let's start there. So if the age is below 13, then the statement to be displayed back to the end user is maybe you are eligible for say what, G or PG rated movie. So anyone who is 13 downwards. Next, else if we say what? Now the next age that we're going to test, we can say below 17 probably. So if you're below 17, the list of movies that you can watch is okay, let me copy this, actually makes more sense. So you are eligible for a G, PG and PG-13 rated movie. Next, else if. So for this one, we're going to check whether now for age, whether it's below, say 18 probably. So 18, we're going to take the rating all the way to, so this was G, PG, PG-13, say what else, and R rated movie. Finally, if you are obviously above 18, so it means that you can now watch all movies actually. So you are eligible for how do we put it, all movie ratings. Maybe we can even spell it out. So this is G, PG, PG-13, R, and then the other one is supposed to be NC-17. Sorry, we can spell it out like that. So after we are through with this whole structure, the other thing that we're going to do is let me call it step 5. If we follow that step-by-step approach, close the scanner utility. Say that one is very important. So we simply pick the object of scanner and then we just close, or call its close method. From there, we can just give a final remark to the end user. So thank you for using the movie rating advisor. Movie rating advisor. So that's the final thing that we're going to have in this program. Let's look at it first. We import scanner. We say that is always the first step. Then we create our scanner object, which basically is input. We called it input here. Then we prompt the user to enter their age, and that is where we have this point here. From there, the input.next